All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. All right. Welcome to the channel. So, this topic tonight is going to be why so many men are looking beyond America. And this is the topic tonight. We're going to get started, ladies and gentlemen. I said I was going to change up some things. Excuse me. I hope you like the background there. I feel like the background does match what this discussion that we're going to be talking about, man. So I said I was going to start doing more of this stuff at night and things regarding, the passport bros and everything. So we're just going to go ahead and dive right into it. So I welcome you all with warm embrace. Today, we are going to be diving into a topic that has blown up across social media, as well as YouTube, TikTok, everywhere. And the topic is we're going to talk about the rise of the passport bros, right? Or passport boys, right? Men who are seeing dating in America isn't working. It's not working for me. I'm sure for some of you guys, it's not working for you as well. So I'm looking overseas, as I mentioned before. This is no judgment, no hype, just to be honest conversation about why so many men feel this way, right? And what is it saying about the dating landscape in America? Well, let's get into it. I guess everybody else will start catching up as we start to move on, right? So we're going to be talking about it. So once again, gentlemen, we're just going to go into it. Segment number one: why men are talking about passports, right? Not dates, right? This is the first question here. A lot of men in America quietly feel something that they're afraid of to say out loud. I don't feel wanted here, right? This is what most men are thinking. No hate, no hate, right? No attacks, just unnoticed. You hear men say, "I feel invisible." I'm always, the backup option. Dating apps destroy my confidence. I can't meet someone who wants a relationship, not a commitment, right? This is an emotional fuel, right, behind the passport boys movement. Not entitlement, not bitterness, just exhaustion, right? Men feel like they're trying, but the dating market isn't trying with them, right? Let's go ahead and go further. Segment number two: the American dating environment, right? Let's be real for a moment. Dating in America has become what? Hyper competitive, highly digital, expectations are heavy and often transactional, right? Transactional, I'm sorry. Social media has turned relationships into highlight reel, right? Dating apps have created a marketplace where the top 10% of men and the men gets 80 to 90% of the attention, right? Sounds familiar. If you're a normal guy, right? A good dude with average looks, normal income, right? Decent values, right? You're competing with influencers, athletes, millionaires, right? Which curate Instagram perfection, right? It's no wonder some men look around and say to themselves, why am I trying to climb a mountain with no gear, right? Makes a lot of sense. When I could just walk on the beach elsewhere, which is absolutely true. How many of you guys actually feel this way? And you ain't got an answer, but this is basically some of the things that most men have been experiencing, right? Let's go ahead and go further. Segment number three: what men say they want, right? And I've interviewed a lot of guys, man, just by driving over and asking the same old questions, right? Here's the part that nobody wants to talk about. Passport boys or bros are not flying out because they want a puppet or a servant, right? Or some fantasy, right? This is some of the things negative that they say. They're flying out because they want what? This is the reason why we're flying out. We want to be appreciated first and foremost. Let's start right there. Appreciation is something that men look for. When we go out, we slay the dragon, we come home, we bring the bacon home. We want to feel appreciated for doing this stuff. Are modern women today, do they feel appreciated for what men have always been instructed to do? Be a provider, be a protector. This is one of the highlights right here that we are not receiving. What about connection, right? This is another thing. Having that connection with a woman, right? Now, I don't know about you guys, but it's pretty hard to be able to connect with someone when she want to connect with someone else. Do you always feel like that you're always a backup option? Or in this case, no option, right? Some of you guys feel that way, right? And I said I was going to go ahead and talk about this tonight because this is really, really true. This is what most men are dealing with today. So this is another thing, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to bring up some of these things because we already know. We already know. And I'm gonna go down a little bit deeper here. I just want to turn that down just a little bit. What about femininity? This is another thing, right? We're not even getting femininity, right? We're talking about women being feminine, looking good, and they feel comfortable in their femininity. You have a lot of women today, black, white, and other, that have this like masculine exterior, right? And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm not, and maybe if I am getting appreciation, and maybe I may not be getting the femininity or connection, it's a deal breaker for me, man. You don't want to be with some water buffalo or someone that's like a total she-man, that's not going to work. For some guys, they may not mind, but I do, What about loyalty? Loyalty is another situation, right? Having someone when you can come home to every night, feeling like, that you have the connection, you got the femininity, you got the appreciation, as I mentioned. What about loyalty? What is that score on the charts, right? That's right there as well. These are the things, gentlemen, that, as a man, we should be, that we're looking forward to. We're looking for loyalty. We don't want a woman of the night. They got some whole nother life going on. I mean, but there's a lot of women because she got options today. Remember what we were saying before? We're all men in the Western world. You are competing with influencers, athletes, millionaires. These are the types of people you may not think you are, but this is why the dating world is so difficult today in the Western world, because everybody got some type of social media. The world has become a lot smaller. You got Facebook. People don't even talk about Facebook. I'm gonna bring it up. Let's talk about Facebook for a minute. Facebook, ladies and gentlemen, is always have been your new dating app, whether you know it or not, because you can reach out to millions of women and women can reach out to millions of men. And then not only that, they can also reach out to men of influence, athletes, as I mentioned, and millionaires. And we already know if you're not in the top 10% of men trying to date in the Western world, you're going to get sloppy seconds, thirds, and fourths with a bunch of babies, children, baby, and all the rest of that go right along with it. See, these top influencers and athletes and millionaires, they don't have to worry about that stuff. They're going to get the cream of the crop. And then we're stuck with sloppy seconds, thirds, and fourths. It's a known fact, right? So let's go ahead and talk about teamwork, right? You always heard the old saying, teamwork makes the what? Dream works, right? Teamwork makes the dream works. Teamwork make the dream work, right? This is another thing, right? Trying to find a woman to get on your team in the Western world is very difficult. Seeing that she's a team player, here we are, the coach, and we want to make her your star player, right? But if she doesn't want to be the star player, she want to play for another team. Somebody is offering a bigger, and I got to equate this to sports because most men understand it this way, right? You ain't going to have a team player if someone else is offering her more pay. Free agents, right? It's a lot of women out here are free agents today, man. They're not trying to sign up. It's going to be very, very challenging as a regular man, right? Out here today. And this doesn't make you a bad man. I mean, I'm just saying. It's just that by us being what we call average, regular men, you do understand if we're not in the top 10%. You know, one thing about it is if you want to play that game, yeah, you can build yourself up. Or what is the alternative? Well, we're going to get to that in a minute. Some of you guys may already know, right? So here it is. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? And relationships that feel human again. Gee, when have you felt a relationship that feel human again, right? Isn't that something? I can't remember when I was in a relationship that felt human again. Someone who actually cares, someone who actually appreciates connection, femininity, loyalty, teamwork, right? I haven't, I'm just being honest with you guys, and I don't mind being open, you know, as far as in my personal life when it comes down to stuff like this. You know why? Because I know I'm not the only man. I'm not the only man out there. There's a lot of men. There's white men too. I run across them. It ain't just a brother thing. This is men straight across the board, man. I know a guy right now that's in the medical field, in the doctor field, man, and he's having a hard time. You got athletes and other people, they're having a hard time. They can get the women. Their situation is a little different from us, you know. They can at least date, but they already know you get the gold digging vibes, gold diggers, right? You gotta look out for setup vibes. That's another one where these women will try to set you up because they know you got money. So their situation is a little bit different, you know. So we're talking about it, gentlemen, tonight. Let me take a look. Is there anybody comment? I want to make sure I ain't ignoring anybody. Oh, no comments. Okay. But let's go ahead and go down the list, right? So these are the things that we're talking about here tonight, right? So let's go ahead and go further into it. They want dating that feel like two people choosing each other, right? Not two people negotiating terms like a contract. We don't need that, gentlemen. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We want to be able to feel human again, right? Here's the thing that I tell women what men really want. As a man, and I should know, just like you guys should want the same thing. Men want peace. Men want partnership. Men want to feel valued, right? These are the three things that I know right off the top of my head regards to what men want. You know, peace. And this is one of the scriptures I always like to repeat it. It says that a man, I'd rather live on a corner of a roof than to live in a house with a quarrelsome woman, right? Some of you guys that are Christian know that scripture. What do you think they are referencing that to? A man's peace. Because when a man can't get peace in his own household, this is when things get chaotic. And Western women, especially Western women, they have lost what we call the what men are about. Most women don't have a clue what men are about. They just look at it as a reusable resource, which is the money, or basically a tool. They treat us like a tool. In the Western world, it's true, right? But men want peace, right? Number two, men want partnership, right? This is another one. We want partnership. We want someone, right, that have our back. When I'm out doing what men do, as far as being a provider and all this, we at least want someone to be able to cook for us, make sure the house is taken care of, have our back, do the groceries, pay the bills. You know, the whole 9 yards. A lot of you guys have been in relationships. Me too. You know what I'm saying? But without having this partnership, It's not going to work. And as a man, you should be able to spot this right away. Some of you guys are what, 40, 50 years old, 60 years old for some of you. You know what I'm saying? So you should know, even with a 30-year-old should know what a partnership is, right? All right. What's the other one? Men want to what? Feel valued. What do we mean about feeling valued, right? We want women to say, oh, they see value in us, right? When a woman knows she got a good thing, she's going to what? Value it. But if she don't feel like you are valuable, she's not going to value you. And that's another thing. I think that men, how women treat men today is throwaway trash, garbage. When we out here providing for ourselves, taking care of ourselves, men can take care of themselves by themselves. Most men can, right? And go out here. I know guys that are truck drivers, single. I know guys that are in the tech field, take care of themselves, single. We can just go on and name them. You can have guys that work in the regular domestic food service and everything. They still can take care of themselves, right? I mean, you should be happy to be able to have a man, ladies, that can go out here and work and provide. It may not be at what you expect, but most of the guys that live out here, they have their own place. They're able to provide. They can definitely take care of themselves. I think that's it's not to frown your nose up on. A man can't take care of himself. Why should he be in a relationship? Most of these guys out here can, right? How many feel they can't get that in the U.S., in the current U.S. Dating culture? How many of you guys feel that? How many men feel that they can't get that in the current U.S. dating culture? How many of us? You know, I'm going to be one of the first to say, I don't think that I can get that of what I'm talking about in the modern dating culture or the current U.S. dating culture. I'm just going to say it because we live in the United States, Western world. It's going in, and I'm saying it for myself. Okay. Segment number 4. Is the movement right or wrong? Right? Talking about passport bros. Is the movement right or wrong? Here's the truth. This movement isn't about right or wrong. It's about men making choices that protect their mental health, their happiness, and their future. Right? That's exactly what this is all about. And if we don't have mental health, if we don't have happiness in our future, we're going to fall apart. And it's better to go somewhere where your chances of finding what you are looking for, and we may have to travel a few thousand miles or so forth, maybe on the other side of the world, just to achieve that, right? Some argue that leaving the country is running away, right? You didn't heard that before. Others say it's simply exploring better opportunities. And that's the second one I'm going to go with. Others, like myself, say it's simply exploring better opportunities, because there's a lot of opportunity. Man, my nephew went, he went over there to, the Philippines, right? 3 weeks ago. Man, he said how much he loved it. He said, Unc, you were right by going over there to the Philippines. And I've been out of the country since I was 18 years old. But he said, oh, man, I've been over there to the Philippines. Oh, my gosh, oh, they just love me over there. Oh, I'm just having a great time. And I basically explained to him, I said, it's something that you haven't thought about yet, but I'm going to bring it up. I say, you remember I told you before, men want to feel valued. You are already, here you are a foreigner. You come with value into many of these countries automatic. You're like this shiny object. Now, don't let it go too much to your head, but I understand what you're talking about. Because when it's like a flower that can't seem to get water to be able to grow. And the more that the Western woman deny us as men water, we start to whittle away. We start to get bitter and angry and frustrated, right? And this is exactly what's going on, right? So this is what I said when he was explaining how he had a great time. He met a girl on the dating app over there. Talked to her about 3 or 4 months, went over there and had a great time, or yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? Make a long story short, but he had an excellent time, right? Didn't have to spend a lot of money. Been over there for over 2 weeks. Spent about $200. What place do you know you can go and be somewhere for 2 weeks? He stayed with their parents' house, and they were into agriculture and all this other stuff. They were teaching them about some things over there and stuff like that. He said that he's going to move over there. He said he loved it so much in the Philippines that he's considering living over there. You know, my nephew, he has a bohemian lifestyle anyway. He's just one of those type of guys that not into a whole lot of chemicals, just kind of off the nature and all that stuff, which is great for him. Great physique. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But let's go ahead and go into further, right? Let's go ahead and dive into the questions here. Why do so many men feel that they have to, right? Let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and do it. Why do so many men feel they have to, right? Because, I mean, you know, as far as the movement, the passport bros and so forth, you know? Is it because the dating expectation in America has become a maze? And men, especially average, right? Feeling average, you know what I'm saying? They feel like they're walking into a maze already closing, right? The passport boys or bros aren't trying to escape responsibility. They're trying to escape the feeling of being unwanted, right? That's the thing about it. Escape the feeling of being unwanted. That's the thing about it. We want to escape that because as long as you're here, especially here in America, you're going to have that feeling of being unwanted, feeling invisible, can't match up. Because like I said before, you know who your competition is. Let's go ahead and do it again. Influencers, athletes, millionaires. These are your competition here. And that's tough when we really start to think about it, right? It really is. This is one of these type of things, gentlemen, that you know, it makes one question his reality. You know, this is why so many people are drinking, smoking. Because I always say, you know, cannabis, it's a poor man's vacation. You know what I'm saying? For real, for real. Those that have the means to be able to travel, they're saying, hey, I'd rather do that than just sit around smoking weed and drinking all day, you know? I mean, it's a few ways out of this, right? That the first option, as I say, smoking weed and all that other stuff, I mean, I don't judge anybody, but I don't do it, but it's not my type of party. I rather, because I'm in the real rural, right? So I much rather deal with that, though. You know what I'm saying? Being in the real world. Segment number 5. The real conversation men are having. And this is a situation most men are not having these conversations that I'm talking about. If we strip away politics, culture wars, and internet arguments, this movement reveals something real. A lot of men are hurting. A lot of men are lonely. And a lot of men are ignored. Those are really what's really going on, where the rubber meets the road, right? This is something that most men are not willing to accept or have conversations at all. They just much rather just say, hey, everything is cool, when it's not. You know, I can see in these guys' eyes that they hurting, right? You know what I'm saying? And if you're a black man, oh man, if you live in these cities, as I mentioned, New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, right? Man, We can go in and name these places and go right down the East Coast to the Midwest. Oh man, you know what I'm saying? By the time you get to Detroit, it's a wrap. Chicago, it's a wrap, right? St. Louis is a wrap, man. You know what I'm saying? This ain't cool, man. Not at all. I feel like reminds me of what is it? It reminds me of it's just not a real, it's a matrix. It is the matrix, but it's like a simulation that we're living in, right? That's not real. We just cease to exist here, especially in these major cities and stuff, when you're being ignored or invisible every single day. You know, I mean, these guys that tell us reality stuff about these dating coaches and all the rest of this stuff, which a lot of them are just liars. They don't really have it going on themselves, though. You know, yeah, you got to get in shape, you got to get fit, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I'm gonna tell you now, man, you can do all that, but it's not going to change the outcome. Because as I said before, when you're competing with influencers, athletes, and so forth, you know, we're talking about people that are in the higher upper echelon. Don't think that these guys don't get on Facebook and hit these women up in their DMs. You do realize that this happens. Shaquille does it, and he ain't the only one. They hitting up. This is part of our competition. Have you guys wondered why it's so difficult right now to date? Because of this reason. These are the upper echelon of men. And these women, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, these are the best years of a young woman's life right here. And they're getting these women. And you'll be lucky to get a 35, 36-year-old, especially if she doesn't have any children. That, because most of them got children. Let's face it, you're going to get the average of them with children, especially if you're in the black community. That's a fact, right? So it doesn't leave you a large dating pool, gentlemen. It really doesn't. I know, I'm just speaking on what I know. So instead of complaining or blaming, in other words, using your passport, right? And these passport bros, they're exploring life, connections, right? Dating in places where they feel respected once again. This is right here, ladies and gentlemen, feeling respected once again, right? If you can find a good woman easier in these other countries, because these other countries, they don't have the same sophistication. You don't have these high influencers, these big figure athletes, right? You're not dealing with those type of people and millionaires. I mean, they're there, but there's so many women like the Philippines. I mean, think about this, gentlemen. In the Philippines, Thailand, and other places, I'm just going here to say, it's so many women there, right? That if we put all the influencers in America alone, or in other countries in the world, athletes and millionaires, you will still have, let's say, a large dating pool of women to date. You see what I'm saying? That's facts. That's why these guys got passports. I got a passport. This is why we do it, because we understand it's a numbers game, right? In the Western world, in America, it's a number game that the average male is not going to win. And this is not me being negative. It's a fact, because you're up against millionaires, athletes, right? And influencers. They have a different reality than average you and me. All this stuff you're hearing these guys talking about is a bunch of bullshit. Sorry, but it really is. Because if you're not in that stratosphere in America, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle. And this is why I said I'm gonna start doing stuff like this more often. Because outside of the politics and all that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, I'm focused on that too. But I said I'm gonna start doing this at night again. And whether if I make this a live stream or a video, hopefully this will be able to grab some more men attention, because I'm not really, my keep rate on my videos is dropping, bouncing like a bad check, right? So I have to figure out a way. I think I figured out a way to be able to reconnect. If I can reconnect with and establish with men, and we can have these conversations, and I can get some real people to interact, because that's really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for other men. And like I said, getting a passport is easy. Some of you guys may not have a passport. What is it, about $160? We're not talking a lot of money here. And to be able to save up for a trip, just by doing careful planning, budgeting, where you can save up about $2,000 once you get the ticket out the way, of course. The rest is just a piece of cake. Isn't it about time that you want to fly somewhere, go somewhere, and not having to worry about the same hustle and bustle? There's so much to support online where these places to go, where you can still have a great time. You never know. You may meet someone. You may meet someone special, gentlemen. I can't promise who you'll meet, but your chances over there will be greater than dealing with women in America. Because over here in America, you have these women, right? You have these simp culture over here. See, in these other countries, they don't have the simps like we have here in the Western world. Filipino men don't simp for Filipino women, because they know they are in the minority group and they have their pick of the litter. See what I'm saying? But here in America, the mindset with men are scarcity. This is what causes them to simp. And the more men that simp, right? Because when you being a simp out here, it let other women know, wow, I can manipulate these guys. I can do this and that. Because it ain't really you that they really want. They want your money. But they're going to get with the upper echelon dude. Because if she's halfway pretty or pretty and up, she's going to find somebody like Shaquille in their private, in their DMs. This is how a lot of these athletes, influencers, millionaires, you guys don't know who's in their inboxes. The ghosting, that happens a lot. The dating apps is phony. I tell men to stay off the American dating apps, because it's not real. It's ghost. Those are not real women accounts. They're bots and ghosts, right? Real women don't need no dating apps to find a guy. So the ones you're going to probably find, unfortunately, they're going to be big as a whale. Just ask plenty of fat chicks or plenty of fish. One of the two. It's very frustrating to get on here and find out that she's over 300 pounds. You know what I'm saying? But besides that, because those are the ones that are on there, you got big women on our date apps. And this ain't no knockdown towards big women. I get it. But the ones with the hot photos look like they have professionally done. Those are bots. Those aren't even real. And you'd be lucky to get a real conversation on the internet. You got half of these horn dog dudes and simps that go into these spaces right there. It's like being in a nightclub 3.0, not even 2.0. You see what I'm saying? It's a nightclub meat locker syndrome. Meeting online is just as bad as meeting in a nightclub, man. It ain't what you want. You don't want that. I'd suggest that men need to get their passports, right? This is the thing. Get your passport, But other than that, though, yeah, I ain't going to hold people up tonight. I just wanted to talk about some of these things. and things like that. I'm trying to build up something to get more real content, guys that really rock with me on these type of issues. I'm looking for people that feel what I'm talking about. I'm not looking for a bunch of goats and views. If I can have 3 or 2 or even one good person to say, hey, you know what, you make a lot of sense, I rock with you, you know what I'm saying, instead of just, just a bunch of empty, that's not staying on the topic long enough. Because you would think, because like I said before, I don't know what it is with this algorithm stuff, man. They've been shadow banning me down, man. It's I done looked at my number. And I know why though. It's not even surprising. It's not even surprising, man, at all, man. And they've been doing a damn good job with it. And I'll be talking about some good stuff, man. I be talking about stuff, and I go on these other people's channels. I'll be scrolling up, scrolling, man. It's a bunch of foolishness, but they got all the views. Go figure that. The one topic in one place that I want to make it where men can come here to my channel. We can talk about it, some things, discuss some things. It's not really a lot of places where average men can go. Athletes and other people, they got spaces where they can go. How many places? And then this is the thing. Most women, one thing I can say about women have a sisterhood. They walk lockstep with each other. Men don't do that. We are so divided by them, it's unreal. You put one woman between 2 men and that's the disruptor, is her. I've seen it, man. And it's sad the way it's going, man. We ain't in lockstep with each other. We don't support each other. Men don't support each other, man. That's the biggest thing. You will let a little tiny, you let that right there rule. Some of you guys, you let that rule you, man. And I can at least say that this is some type of pushback for men to basically start over again and feel renewed, instead of just taking the abuse in a country when you're getting your ass kicked at work, you're getting your ass kicked in all places, getting your ass kicked down here at home, whatever it is, you're getting your ass kicked. I go to the movies. I can go to the movies by myself. They don't make me none. I don't mind doing it. Right? It's become to be most routine. You got the boys club of men, single, and when you 30s, 40s, and 50s single, it's like, wow. It's just some bizarro world, man. You know damn well that that's not normal. What man chooses to be single unless he truly have it going on? Right? That's what I'm saying though, right? I mean, it's obvious for me to be talking this type of stuff that I'm single. No dang on way in the world I'm gonna be in a relationship. I'll be laid down with something soft, cuddled up to me in the bed. Not sitting up here on the internet at 12:43 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm right with you, brothers, except for I got a way out. It's a difference let's say if I didn't have a passport on here trying to figure this stuff out, trying to do all this other stuff, you know what I'm saying? I mean, look at the red pill community. Guys, that's gone, right? That's no more. There ain't no red pill stuff no more. The thing about the red pill that I never liked, they didn't really set it up right? They didn't really set it up. They didn't really set it up. And what they should have been doing, it should have been talking about passport even then. It shouldn't even be no red pill thing anyway, right? This is the thing about it, man. You know what I'm saying? Competition, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about gentlemen. Right? We're dealing with the dating apps. Every guy is competing with millions of other men, including the top 1% of men who dominate likes, matches, and attention. And that's a fact. This is why that ish don't work. Fresh and fit and all that shit don't work, man, when you're up here dealing with matches and attention, right? You get these 1% guys that them build themselves up. Kevin Samuels wasn't lying. For some of you guys know who he is, you know. Here it is. This is what it's like. It's like me playing a friendly pickup game, basketball game with LeBron James, Stephen Curry. That's what it's like. And we already know they're going to blow me out because they have the skills. They've been playing ever since they was a little kid with these basketball camps and all the rest of this stuff. I'm not even a weekend warrior. It's like a Ferrari up against a Volkswagen, a 64 Volkswagen Bug. And that's what it's like. There's no way in the world it's going to outrun that car. Right? The expectation shift, right? These are the things that the red pill community highlighted, right? These expectation inflations, right? You know what I'm saying? There was a time, right? 50 years ago, most people met locally in schools, work, church, and friends. Today, everyone has a global access, gentlemen. Have you just think about it? Through social media, dating apps, endless scroll of better opportunities. This is how women see it. And they're getting attention with a bunch of inboxing, in the DMs and all the rest of the stuff. Your ish get overlooked easily. I don't care how well of or how nice guy you are. These social media and dating apps are the worst today for an average man. You cannot be average using these types of means if you're looking for a woman. What I'm saying this. Why go and do it hard work when you can get your passport and do like other men that did it before you that has been successful? Right? So if you're an average guy, a hardworking man, a normal dude, and you're not being compared to men in your hometown anymore, you're being compared to the best men in the world that she sees on her phone. This is, you know what I'm saying? This is exactly what it is. Right? It creates pressure. It makes guys feel like what? I am not exceptional. I'm nothing. And that's exactly what it is. You spend countless of hours on social media and apps and all the rest of the stuff. It does not work. They will ghost you. And it's just a bad thing. Unless you're in a Bentley, Ferrari, got the lifestyle house, chilling on your sofa. You know, they have these pictures, these photos that they spend top dollar. You can get AI to do it now. But you know yourself, they're just going to bust you out. If you ain't living that lifestyle and you're trying to perp that lifestyle, please. You don't have to do any of that stuff when you're going overseas. You know what I'm saying? You have traditional women of value that are more likely marriage-minded than the Western women in over here anytime, any day. A lot of them have a mother and a father. I can't say that over here in America. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's exactly what's going on, you know? Dating today, gentlemen, with mixed messages, right? And men feel it deeply, right? You're getting the same old bullshit from these dating coaches and all these liars. Be confident, but not be arrogant. Be valuable, but don't overshare. Be a provider, but don't be traditional. Be ambitious, but also have tons of free time. What does that sound like? Some of you guys have heard this ish before, right? I know I have. It never worked in my life, and I am confident. Just keeping it real, right? So, doesn't it sound confusing? The confusing modern signals is what this is, right? This is exactly what's going on. Exactly what's going on. And don't you feel as a man that the rules keep changing? Nobody hands them an updated manual. I never had one, right? So if the red pill is trying to offer that manual, you know what I'm saying? We already know that there's a lot of imperfections in this particular manual, right? But attempting to answer modern male questions, right? What does it mean to be attractive today, right? I mean, this is some of the stuff that the red pill insights. I mean, I see guys in the Philippines, man, overweight, old, 60 years old, got a 30-year on his arm. And then over here in America, I said, well, you got to be fitness, you got to be confident, you got to have a purpose, financial stability, social skills. All that ish goes out the window over there, man. It really does. Oh man, you know what I'm saying? Oh man, there's guys over there, man. They killing the game. There's guys over there that's killing the game, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? You got guys over there that's just, if they were over here, I agree, they would have a hell of a time. That's why they left. You know, that's why they left. Walking down the street, got a young thing on their arms that's 30 some odd years old. And some of them don't even mind taking care of her child. I ain't got no problems with that. Because the woman, there's a lot of women in these countries, and I'm using Philippines, that's going to be my model for right now. Because you got women over there that got children. Ain't got guys over there taking care of her and her kid. But you're still getting a way better quality woman over there because she's still marriage minded versus what you're getting over here. The competition there is not as fierce as it is over here in America. Your job is to get away from the competition. Unless if you're a millionaire yourself, you shouldn't have no problems. You know, these guys are always telling lies and shit. No, man, you ain't balling out. It ain't happening. You ain't got your pick of the women. The certain women gonna be picking you. Let's go ahead and keep it real, right? Let's go and keep it real. So I said I was gonna really do something this time. Now that I'm in my home studio instead of being out in my car. You know what I'm saying? Where I've been putting stuff together like this and talking about it. Right? Now don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of self-improvement. But others fall into bitterness, right? Which is frustration. That's one of them, right? Resentment is another one. Because you got guys that have done these things, being fit, being confident, being have a purpose, financial stability, and social skills. You got guys that have done that, and they're still coming up short. I know some of these guys. So what does that mean? Is somebody bullshitting you? I think they're bullshitting me. If you're hitting on, let's say, 5 of these type of bullet points, according to the red pill community, if you're hitting on these particular levels, you're supposed to have a woman of your choice. We know that that's not the case. It's bullshit. And I call bullshit when I call it. Right? It has nothing to do with these 5 bullet points. It has a lot to do with the competition of upper echelon men that secretly go into their DM boxes and all the rest of the stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. I'm just going to keep it real though, man. All this other ish is not happening. And I'm waiting for my detractors to come in here and tell me otherwise. Because you could say whatever you could say on the internet, because I don't take that seriously anyway. That's just this is just not real. It's cotton candy, make believe. I'm talking about in the real world right now, right? This is not about hating women, right? Or winning in some type of gender war. It's not about that type of stuff. The gender war been over. We know who came out on the outcome of that. It's feminist women. We didn't win that. They took that over. This is another reason why a lot of men are having problems now, because of that gender war ass bullshit, right? You know what I'm saying? So this is what we are dealing with. All I'm saying is that you can do those other 5 bullet points if you want. But you will go to a place where a lot of those bullet points are not needed. How about just being a good dude? Because of being a good dude and you go into some of these countries around the world, you go a long way. Just being a good dude and still have your finances and other stuff together, you're going to go a long way in these countries, right? This is about empowerment, gentlemen, not defeat, not bitterness, and not victimhood. Not one time that I've been marketing this type of stuff. I'm saying like this: I accept the market as to what it is. I accept the rules, right? And I'm going to become someone who thrives anyway. This is the mindset that we have to have, right? So every guy that's listening, yes, dating in America is challenging. Yes, the environment has changed. Yes, it's more competitive than ever. That's true. These things are happening. It's been happening. Remember what I said before, 50 years ago, people were finding them in the school, the church, and so forth. We are not in that arena right now. The competition out here is fierce. If you're going to date in America, you can't expect to get a traditional woman in America unless you belong to some type of Amish community or some type of community outside of the real world. Besides that, you're not going to get it. And this ain't me being negative. This is because the climate landscape has changed dramatically. You got women that's out here earning a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Driving Mercedes-Benz and BMWs and all the rest of that stuff. Got the boss mentality type. And you're trying to attract that into your life and trying to get her to get on your program. Good luck with that. Because you're not going to have peace. You're going to have a lot of doom and gloom. Right? That's what you're going to have. Right? Yeah, man, this is something else, man. You got to really talk about it. I mean, this is exactly what it is. These women today, they're not cooking for their men. The young women in their 20s, man, you should hear the conversation. I hear the conversations in the car all the time. Girls' night out, they're all crewed up in my car. A man can't do nothing but give me this and that. Talking about I haven't seen love in there one time. It's all about give me, give me, give me. They don't respect men in the Western world, especially in America, and some of them outright hate men. And then you're trying to go up against that. You're trying to compete against that. Come on now. It's easier to get your passport. Because at least with the passport, It's going to give you freedom. You're going to have peace of mind. You know, spending over 15 hours on the plane ride, being in the plane with a big smile on your face, taking a nap, chilling out with your head bugs on, being in a small percentage of men traveling abroad. Boy, it's another whole landscape over there that most of the men have not even tapped into. Stuck on American Western civilization stuff that's not working, especially for men. We actually have it better than the women, whether you know it or not. Right? We actually have it better. And what I mean about better, because men have longevity in the dating game, women don't. There's guys over there and 70 years old in these other countries, man, having a great time. They're with 30-year-old. Age gap dating is not a problem over there in these other countries, man. They don't look at that stuff like we look at it as long as they're 18. You know what I'm saying? But besides that, age gap dating is not an issue. I think on my next one, I'm going to talk about age gap dating. Yeah, that's going to be my next topic, gentlemen. Age gap dating. I want you to stay tuned for the next podcast that I do, where we're going to dive into age gap dating. We're going to go over it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to get right down to the nitty gritty of it. Because we know why in America, why age gap dating, why they frown on it so much. Because women understand as older they get, they got to compete with the young women. And older women can't have a man dating a 30-year-old when you're 60, 50 or 60. Right? This is why, because they gaslight. They tell man she's a baby. You should be ashamed of yourself. They want to go into it. And I'm going to highlight some of the things right now about it, but we're going to have a full-blown, we're going to go right into it. And I'm a big thumbs up on age gap dating. I have no problem with it whatsoever. It ain't never been a thing since the biblical times. Right? Because when you got a younger woman that's vibrant, that can possibly still have your child. Some of you guys have never had no children. I'm one of them. When you got something young and fertile, and she's going to be able to cook for you, take care of you when you're sick, there's a lot of benefits when you have a younger woman on your arm versus an older woman. I don't want no older woman on my arm, because I understand where that's going to come from. I know the problems with that. I tell young men all the time, you shouldn't be over here going after no damn cougars. Are you crazy? You a young man. Get your passport. Travel. 18, 19. Get out there like I did. Can't be afraid. Get out there. So therefore you can get some experience under your belt. Right? Instead of dealing with this cougar stuff and all that stuff. Yeah, I admit it. I done it. But I wasn't into her. I wasn't into her like that. She wanted me to be, you know how it is when you ever dated a cougar and they want you to come over and do all that. No, man, I wasn't going to do that. You know? Hit and quit. But I'm not going to wind myself up in a relationship like that. We as men, we are hardwired for something younger. I said age gap dating. I didn't say underage. I said age gap dating. That's what I said. That's what I'm talking about. And you got it over here in these other countries. You know, you're able to achieve and do things just like with these big ticket athletes and all this other stuff, you know. You're able to do this type of stuff with a smile on your face. And ain't nobody pointing it out and saying, oh man, look at that, you know. You go in the Philippines, Thailand, you see that every day, all day. You know what I'm saying? Man, they got so many Man, Asia is a huge continent. Just like Africa is a huge continent. Whatever you like is out there for you. You just have to take the plunge to get your passport and talk with some people that have already traveled. Give me one moment. Got to use the restroom here. Hold on for one moment. I can't hold it no more. Hold on for a minute. All right, gentlemen, I appreciate you for holding though too. This is what I'm talking about, man, because and I appreciate you coming on here and listening to me tonight. Thanksgiving Day. This is like going into the next day now. Was it 108 a.m. Eastern Standard Time? But yeah, you hung out with me this long. I appreciate it very much. But the American dating environment, ladies and gentlemen, hyper competitive, highly digital. Expectations are heavy and often transactional, if you know what I mean. It's the truth. It's the truth. This is the reason as to why, if you're a normal guy, you're a good dude with average looks, normal income, decent values, as I said it earlier, your competition are influencers, athletes, and millionaires. And unfortunately, just being a good dude with average looks and normal income and decent values isn't enough. It just isn't enough, gentlemen. Right? It's basically trying to climb a mountain with no gear. You're not going to be successful. It just won't happen. But all I'm saying is, there's no mountain to climb. We may have to go over a couple of hills, which is climbable. Most of us can climb a hill. You don't need special gear and training to climb no hill. A mountain you do. All I'm saying is, let's just move away from the mountain and look for the hills. These other countries are hills. You're not inundated with influencers, athletes, and millionaires. Yeah, they're in those places, But they in a whole different stratosphere. You may run across them here and there, but you don't really need anything from them. They're doing what you're doing. Now I'm just going to say this. Some of these influencers, athletes, and millionaires are still succumb to the same problems. Remember we said before, it's often transactional. And after a while, the millionaire is going to even get tired of paying out all the time when he's not getting nothing in return. It's called a sugar baby. Sugar babies, most of us know what a sugar baby is and what she does. They're called sugar babies. They do this as a career. Look for millionaires and athletes to set them up. Right? I remember Shay and that little 18, 19-year-old he had, a little white girl. He was setting her up. That was a sugar baby. And we're seeing what ended up happening. He ended up lost $50 million contract career messing around with this sugar baby. With his prestige and millionaire status, athlete, you know what I'm saying? He could have took his ass over to one of these countries instead of playing over here in the Western world looking like a damn fool, losing a lot of money messing around. I just think that they just get to the point where they feel like they have arrived. They get sloppy and lazy. I don't get it. I don't understand why a man of means would be willing to sugar baby. Have a sugar baby. You could, man, there's places in the world out there cost a lot less. I ain't gonna say it ain't gonna cost, but it's not transactional as it is over here in America and Western world. It's very transactional. You're gonna have to pay. Remember I said before, you can't be a good average looking dude with normal income and decent values in America. It just does not work. You have to be willing to go somewhere where being a good dude and average looks is normal income and decent values. This is the type of stuff that will work in those countries. I ain't saying being a good dude ain't gonna work. It's just not here in America because it's a transactional situation. You got to keep that in mind. It's transactional, especially when we're not getting appreciation, connection, femininity, loyalty, teamwork, and relationship that feels human. Again, we're not getting those things. I'm just kind of recapping a little bit, but we're not getting these things, gentlemen. We're not. Hyper competitive, highly digital, expectations are heavy, and once again, and often transactional. And this is why average men, good dudes, average looks, getting our asses kicked out here if I'm trying to date in the American Western world. This is what you're going to be up against. Remember, our competition are influencers, athletes, and millionaires, right? This is what it is. These are the rules. And as men, we have to accept it, right? These are the rules. Ever since, what's her name? Miss Pearly Things. And don't get me wrong, I like Miss Pearly Things. I would actually date Miss Pearly Things. Miss Pearly Things, you get it. If you're hearing me, Miss Pearly Things, you'll get it, Miss Pearly Things. But here's the thing about it, right? I have no problem with what she's doing. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of red pill, crybaby, white, this and that. They're boo-hooing. They're over here talking about her. You think she cares? No. You know what I'm saying? So I have no problem with what she's doing. right? You hear these old victimhood and the brothers that's trying to white knight these sisters and these chicks, man. Because in the so-called black community, it's worse, man. Oh man, I haven't even, man. And I don't think I even will go into that because I think what I've already talked about is relevant enough. I don't even need to go further down into the damn ghettos. Going down in there, it's even worse. I'm not even gonna go there. I'm talking about just average men, black, white, and other. You know, it's a conspiracy, but like I said, we don't have to harp on it. I'm giving us the information once again why passport bros are winning in this game. It ain't perfect, but if you were to do your research on some of these countries, so now I don't know a whole lot about Central America or South America, because we already know there's anywhere you go, there's going to be a certain level of violence, right? All I'm saying is this: I would highly suggest finding someone that you know that have already gone and have already went, and therefore they can take you under their tutelage. You know, they can tutelage and give you what to do, where to go, and so forth. I would highly recommend that instead of just flat out going out there. There's a travel advisory that you can pull up. They give you places where it's not safe to go. South America things. Me personally, that's not a place that I would want to go. My nephew went. I wouldn't want to go to South America because there's a high level of danger there, especially when you go to Colombia, Medellin. You got to be careful. Cali, right? Cartagena and these other places where they're drugging and all this other kind of nonsense or whatever like that. They look for these simp dudes that's highly controlled by the cartel. And I mean, you know what I'm saying? And trafficking and all this other stuff. You go to these nightclubs. That's where a lot of times they get them. They get them in these nightclubs. But a guy think he's winning, they bringing 2 chicks home. Oh man, we gonna, you know what I'm saying? That's where they get them. And some people don't even wake up from this stuff. So all I'm saying is that there is a certain amount of danger in certain countries. Other countries, it's very minimum to none. If you can afford it, man. I mean, my cousin been to Japan. Man, do y'all realize, man, when you over there in Tokyo, man, she told, man, I heard other guys have been over there. I never been to Japan, but I had a friend of mine that been over there. And how you can be at a coffee shop on your laptop and not have to succumb to having your equipment taken from you or taken away when you go to use the restroom. I ain't never been in a society where it was like that before. I mean, crime and theft is very minimum to none at all. Go figure that. And this is Japan we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I'm talking about. Beautiful thing. So yeah, man. So other than that, though, I think we did about an hour, got it in. Just wanted to talk about some of the basic stuff, though, for some of you guys that hung in or whatever, just to hear my voice and just to listen to me, man. I would highly encourage you to get your passport. Some of you guys may already have it. Great. Get some money up, save up some money, plot out where you want to go, do your research. Find someone that have gone to a country already, one that you may be looking at. Reason why I picked the Philippines, because the secondary language that they learn is English. You don't have much of a language lost in translation. You can communicate with these Filipinos over there. You want to look for countries like that. If you can afford it, yeah, go to Japan. Go to these countries, these already developing countries or whatever. They don't already have their language exchange programs and all this other stuff. So yeah, I would do that. I would stick to these places. Yeah, but other than that though, yeah, man, that passport that you see on my backdrop here on my stage, this right here, look at all those stamps, man. We got to get some stamps, man, on our passports, man. Got the map going on, right? Got the plane in the backdrop. I think this photo was perfect, man. Got little coins there in the compass, a little journal. People be journaling when they travel. That's a nice one over there to my right. This right here should actually be the anthem, the male's anthem to travel. This is our future, gentlemen. Your passport, United States of America, right? That right there is our beacon of hope. Right here. Right here. So other than that, I think I talked about enough here. I usually have a little format of things. I think I covered all my notes and my bullet points on some things here. Yeah, I think that's mainly it. Right. So other than that, I think that is mainly it there. I'm just kind of going over some stuff. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it though, gentlemen. So other than that, I say thanks for tuning in. If today's episode hit home for you, share it with a friend who might need to hear it. Until next time, stay strong, stay grounded, keep searching for life that values you. I'm out. Peace.